several French citizens have joined the terrorist group. In fact, 1,000 citizens are known to be involved in some way with Islamic militant activity, with links to Iraq and Syria. A serious problem exists in France, and we saw that play out in the worst possible way yesterday midday in Paris. Joined now by Gillian Turner, former national security staff member under Presidents Bush and Obama. She's also a Fox News contributor. And Charles Faddis is a former CIA operations officer, as well as a former head of the CIA's WMD terrorism unit. Welcome to both of you. It's great to have both of you with us today. Charles, when you take a look at this video, and it is chilling, and you know they put these things out all the time. It's very slick, very well produced, I guess you could say. And in it, it calls for, let's pull up this screen quote here and take a look at exactly what they advise people to do here. If you're unable to come to Syria or Iraq, then pledge allegiance in your place. Pledge allegiance in France. Operate within France. Terrorize them and do not allow them to sleep due to fear and horror. Your thoughts?
Right. Well, whether this particular video contributed to the attack, obviously, we don't know. But what this video represents is a continuing series of messages broadcast by ISIS, but also by al-Qaeda and other groups, telling folks in the West to do this. And they could not be more clear, in other words, about what they want and what they intend. And people are responding. And unfortunately, they are going to continue to respond. And we're going to continue to see this.
Yeah. Gillian, you say this could be a turning point, given the nature of this operation.
This is really the European nightmare of the past several months come to fruition. As we now know, the perpetrators were French nationals. If it turns out to be the case that they traveled to Syria, trained there, and then returned home to perpetrate this attack on French soil, then this situation really becomes a worst-case scenario for the French government as well as the European community. It shows several advances in terms of terrorist capabilities. Number one, the ability to perpetrate an attack that involves incredibly complex logistics, including the international transit of people and weapons. And number two, the ability to recruit European nationals to the radical Islam cause.
Just in another quote from this video, it says there are weapons and cars available and ready to be hit. Every poison is available, so poison the water and food of at least one of the enemies of Allah, kill them and spit in their faces and run over them with your cars. And I think back to the situation that happened a while back in Canada, where a soldier at a checkpoint was run over by a car. The other individual soldier, military official who was on site, who was shot in cold blood there. I mean, are you starting, to link all of these things together, Charles, in terms of the way that it is all woven?
Yeah, absolutely. What they are doing is broadcasting not just to a nation like France, but to the entire West, telling people in place to mobilize and literally telling them, as you just laid out, pick up whatever means you have at your disposal and kill somebody. If you can kill a lot of people, that's great. If you can just run over one person with a car, that's fine too. Yeah. Do something, get into the conflict. That video that you're talking about with the Frenchman in it, the continuous refrain is basically, what are you waiting for?
Right.
Why are you sitting there? Do something now.
Yeah. What about the fact, Gillian, that these guys wanted to get away? I mean, this is not the kind of suicide bombing that we have seen carried out in the Middle East necessarily.
Yeah, the fact that this wasn't a suicide mission, the fact that there's clearly operational intent to go beyond this one attack to sort of seek refuge somewhere. And this is where the key component here really comes down to, are they or are they not connected to a larger central terrorist organization? Because as you mentioned, there's really two possibilities. On the one hand, they are connected officially. The other possibility is that they're sort of self-styled, homegrown, probably even self-trained jihadis. So looking at that going forward, that will provide some key insight into that issue.
I got to go, but just one quick question for you, Charles. Are we doing enough here at home about the people that we do know something about?
No. We need to become more proactive, more aggressive. We got to get ahead of the curve on this thing.
Charles, Gillian, thank you very much.
Thank you.
20 minutes past, an American cartoonist targeted for death by Islamic terrorists forced into hiding. We'll bring you her story in a moment here.
And a desperate call to 911 as a truck drags a minivan